What's up, guys?
It's Mundane Miracle Monday.
Yay.
Let me just get the elephant out of the room. Let me address something before we even dive into anything.
Is that even the saying? Get
No.
the elephant out of the room?
No, it's not.
Are you calling me an elephant?
No, the phrase is we have to address the elephant in the room. I don't know why I said we have to get the elephant out of the room. But, you know, that can be a new phrase
Mm-hmm.
that I invented.
You might be the only one that uses it.
Maybe. Then it'll just be my catchphrase. But the elephant in the room for our viewers, if you're watching, is that I have on nails.
Oh my gosh. That's the elephant?
Yes. In case you're a watcher, a viewer, and not a listener.
They look so good, though.
I have fake nails on for the first time in actual years. Angelica hates it.
That literally sends shivers down my spine.
And if you want 20% off, these are from Olive and June. And I got them because I have clubbed thumbs. Just like Megan Fox. You can look it up. Megan Fox has clubbed thumbs too. And Olive and June sends so many different sizes of nails in one kit. And so I got them so that they would fit my stubby little club thumbs. And if you want 20% off, there's a link in our link tree.
Wow, look at you.
So, moving on to the episode, while the viewers enjoy staring at my nails.
Gosh. She's a different human being after this trip we just went on. She's a changed woman.
I'm a changed woman.
So, as some of you know, we're campers now.
That's our thing.
Apparently. These $15 Five Below tents have really changed our life.
Yeah, for the better.
Honestly.
Best $15 we ever spent.
Yeah, we're about to reach 10,000 followers on TikTok, so that's so cool.
So if you don't follow us on TikTok yet, help us get to 10,000.
Yeah. If you don't have TikTok, make an account just to follow us.
Exactly.
But yeah, so we went on another trip this week. Well, I guess a week ago now.
A week ago today.
We wanted to go to North Carolina, so we split the trip in half because it's like 9.5 hours. So we decided to get a camping spot in Asheville.
Because we're campers.
Yeah.
Obviously.
So it's a really cool spot. It's, I don't remember anything else about that day, so
Yeah, kind of same. We got stuck in really, really bad traffic trying to go to a coffee shop. And the only thing we could see for miles was like tow trucks.
Yeah.
Very bizarre. There was a tow truck convention or something in Tennessee.
It was so crazy.
Very bizarre.
But the coffee shop was really good. They sold like flowers and stuff. It was so cute. We're going to post all that on our TikTok soon too. So
make sure you're following us.
But yeah, and then so we got to the campsite and it was thankfully still daylight. It was like probably right before sunset, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, it was supposed to rain, and so we were like, we need to test them out first because we don't want to put all our stuff in it if it's going to rain. Yeah. And so we sprayed the tents with like the weather spray for tents.
Mm-hmm.
Scotch guard. And we put tarps down. The only thing we didn't do, which we should have probably done, is put a tarp over them. And we were like, we're going to go get food and come back. And if it's good to go, then we'll bring our stuff. So we get back, it's storming. Like, it's raining so hard.
Thunder, lightning, everything.
We could not leave the car. We were just like, wow, interesting. So we waited for the storm to pass, and
I was like looking at the radar, looking at the forecast, and I was like, okay, it's not supposed to last very long. There's going to be a break in like a 10-minute break in like 15 minutes, and we can make a run for it, put up the tarp over our tents, and then we should be fine.
So we thought. So once the rain like calms down a little bit, we're like, okay, let's go check it out. Our tents are flooded.
Soaked.
And there was like puddles in the bottom. There was like condensation all around the tent. That spray did not work for these tents at all.
I think what I have figured out post-trip is that we were supposed to do it way ahead of time and let it completely dry.
Oh.
and then it becomes waterproof, but we like sprayed it and then immediately it started raining. So it probably just washed it all off.
Another thing people say that we thought we had the right size tarps too.
You know what?
But apparently they were so much bigger.
It's the same freaking story as the wallpaper, because apparently I don't know about anything to do with square footage or anything about measurements. I thought I did, but I guess not.
I mean, it was the smallest tarps we could get, so
Yeah.
it's not like we had any other option anyways. But the tarps are supposed to be completely like the same size as the tent. So if the tarps are like pushing out any, I guess that basically makes it flood.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't understand it, but that's what everybody in the comments has been telling us.
Yeah.
So there's many things that we could try differently, but I still think that maybe these tents are not made for the rain. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, we could try
yeah.
it like that again. We could try to spray it in advance. We could try put the tarp above it, put the tarps exactly the way they're supposed to go under it. Well, I'm sure we'll try it again. 'Cause
Yeah.
why not? But yeah, I mean, if you're really going to be somewhere that's super rainy, those tents are probably not going to do it. So,
Which we kind of knew ahead of time. Like,
yeah.
we weren't like shocked that these tents flooded. We expected it.
We honestly got these tents for fun.
Yeah.
We had no intentions of going on all these camping trips with them. We were just like, oh, it'd be cool if we did. But now that's like our thing, apparently. It's like it's gonna be
that's
a
our
summer,
brand.
yeah, a summer of camping. But yeah, and so we were like, well, we can just sleep in the car. But the problem with that was I have a convertible, and so with most older convertibles, something leaks. And yeah, so rain leaks into my car. So it was either go sleep in the soaking wet tent or sleep in the car with like some drips that kind of eventually turn into a puddle. And either way, we would just wake up soaking wet.
We also had to have the windows down for ventilation.
Yeah, it was so hot inside the car.
hot.
It was like that humid, but it felt nice outside. But I can't open the windows because it's raining.
Pouring down rain, thunder, lightning, everything.
So we put a tarp over my car, and that way we could have the windows like cracked, but also not have the rain get in. And that worked pretty well. There was a time that it started leaking in a little bit, so I had to like push out the tarp so that like it goes out that way, like to the, I don't know, you can have to make like a certain shape with the tarp so it goes like outwards instead of inwards. I don't know how to explain it, but honestly, once I went to sleep, I slept pretty good.
Yeah, it wasn't bad at all. She tried to wake me up at one point to ask me if there was water coming in at my window. I couldn't even wake up. I was like, no, it's fine. I'm not getting wet.
And I was like, I'm pretty sure it is leaking over there. So I couldn't sleep because I was like just sitting there like, but what if it is leaking in and everything back there is getting wet? And what if my windows don't roll back up because it's leaking in? So I got up and I like checked the tarp behind her, like behind her seat.
I don't even remember that at all.
Yeah,
I
you
was
were
zonked out.
Zonked. But yeah, I don't know. Ultimately, it worked out. And when we woke up, it was beautiful out.
Mm-hmm.
It was like that nice, like rainy dew type of morning. And we had an interesting neighbor. We know when we're camping, especially when we're in Asheville, that we're going to experience some interesting people. That night, we went to the grocery store, experienced some interesting people. We went, what?
Very interesting.
Taco Bell, interesting people. If you know anything about Asheville, what they say over there is keep Asheville weird, and trust me, they were keeping it weird, all right.
Keeping it weird.
So, yeah, it was interesting. Men can be very off-putting when you're in the middle of a campsite, and so we are always on guard, you know?
Yeah.
And there's like a communal spot at the campground. We walk in to use the bathroom.
It was kind of like urban camping. Like, it wasn't very far removed from the city, and so there was still like, it wasn't like we were roughing it. There was a building with running
indoor
water.
bathrooms.
Yeah, indoor plumbing.
Better than the last place.
Yeah, and there was a shower. So it was like,
but it also wasn't like a campground. It was like an in-between, I think.
Yeah.
And so we walk in to use a bathroom, and on like one of the couches there's a man just like sitting on his laptop, and he says, "Hi." You know, I don't think nothing of it because I'm like, it's just another person, another guy. I go in the bathroom. It's a one-person bathroom. Mariah's over here texting. She really just left me out here with this random man. I was like, I didn't get any weird vibes from him.
She didn't look over her shoulder, nothing. She just walked in the bathroom, shut the door.
Well, I figured, we're strong, independent women. Should be okay. But no. And so, yeah, we didn't really have any problems from him. But the next morning...
He did seem nice. Like,
yeah.
I think if we had started talking to him, he would have liked to have a conversation with us. But we're not those type of people.
We're trying to be, but...
It doesn't come naturally.
Yeah. So the next morning, when we wake up, we look out the windows, and he's doing yoga of some kind. But that's not the problem. The problem is that he's doing, like, chants. And it sounds like witchcraft. It sounds like witchcraft. And we were just, at that point, we were just terrified. But we did notice that he's Australian. He was talking to another camper. Interesting. Came a long way. And that was just a weird experience.
He didn't have any. He was doing some grounding. He didn't have any shoes on. He had his cup of coffee in one hand,
a cigarette in the other.
He was just living his best life in
doing
the morning,
his chants.
doing his chants.
It was interesting. So it was weird, but it wasn't actually scary. Like,
no, it was just like kind of funny and like, where are we and who are you?
Yeah. But it was actually a beautiful campsite. It was nice. We felt safe there. So.
Oh yeah.
Today we're sponsored by nobody, unfortunately. Not yet, but we will be. Okay, so after that, we left. We visit my sister and her boyfriend, and that was a good time. I
took a nap.
Oh, yeah, she did. Actually, I took like
you took a little baby
10-20 minute nap, too. Needed that. I was so tired.
Erica made us the most delicious iced coffee.
Oh, my gosh, yes. I need that right now. That was nice. Then we drove to where my little sisters live, and we spent time with them for the weekend. They live like near a lake, and so we went swimming. We went not tubing. We floated on tubes. With those inflatable kayaks we bought, we put them out and put them to use. They were so fun.
So fun.
There's like a campground nearby that had like a dance floor, so we did like the cha-cha slide and stuff, or Cupid shuffle. Yeah.
We danced our little hearts out.
Yeah.
And we lived our best lives. Oh my gosh, we got so much sun.
Yeah. You probably can't tell because to us it's a difference, but to the normal eye, we still look very white. But, when you're already pale and you get sun, you can really tell the difference of yourself.
Yep.
And it was nice. It was so relaxing, and like to be in the sun, and just like it gave us so much like happiness to just be out there. The
like vitamin D, like people say stuff about vitamin D and how like good that is for your health and for your mood and everything, but man, for real, I was like transformed being in the sun so much. Like,
I saw a different
all day.
Yeah, I saw a different side of Mariah. Like it was just nice to see her just so like happy. It's not that she's not happy here, but it was just different.
It was like carefree and just like I love being with the girls.
Yeah.
They also just like bring out a different side of me because they're so funny.
I know.
And the way we all just like make fun of each other and like fight with each other, but like not fight.
But also compliment each other and take care of each other. Ugh.
There's just like nothing like that.
Yeah.
It's just like true magic when we're all together.
Yeah, that's true. We really had an awesome time.
Mm-hmm.
So then Monday comes along, and we didn't want to drive the 9.5 hours back. So we were like, let's stop at a campsite. We found this beautiful campsite.
Yeah.
She had horses and pigs and chickens. Like you can camp out in a pasture, or you can camp in the woods. Like it's a beautiful spot.
In the mountains in Asheville, just outside of Asheville.
Yeah. It was awesome, and I thought we would have a great experience there.
But boy, oh boy, do we have a great story.
Yeah, we sure do. So we wanted to get there before it was dark, because we knew going up those curvy mountain roads and then going to a campsite when it's pitch black is not going to be
ideal.
Yeah, but that's just the way it happened. We ended up not getting there till it was dark, and man, it was pretty scary the moment we had to go up the curvy roads, and then the moment we pull in is obviously pitch black, dark, and the lady that owns the place. She doesn't live there. She lives 4 miles away. So she told us she'd meet us there. So she comes right after we get there. And she goes to show us around. She was so nice.
So nice.
Yeah, such a nice lady. And it's just dark and terrifying. Like, she's like showing us around with the flashlight. Like, here's this camp spot in the middle of the woods. Y'all could stay here.
And she's like, see that light over there? That's the bathroom. It's just a pellet toilet. I wouldn't really go there at night. Okay.
I'm like,
Thank you.
Good to know. Like, everything was just, it was just because it was so dark. It was like,
dark.
Where are we right now? And then she takes us over to like the pasture. She's like, you could stay here since no one else is here. Like, there's no other campers, just us. And she was saying, like, we haven't seen a bear in a while. Last time we saw a bear, it was like a mother with a baby. So obviously that's the worst time to see a bear. And she was just saying, like,
there's bobcats and
foxes and coyotes.
snakes.
Yeah, dangerous snakes and all this stuff. But she was like not saying it to scare us, but yeah, she
just
was
so that we would be aware.
Yeah, she was showing us around and everything. Whole time I'm thinking, I am not staying out here. I don't know what came over me, but I got so scared. And I was like, I do not like this. And then she says, Woody stays in the barn. That's like the office. She's like, he stays there just to watch over things. Because since we do have all these like wild animals, just to like keep you guys safe.
So at that point, we didn't know if Woody was a man, if Woody was a dog, if Woody was anything.
Who was Woody?
Who is Woody?
We didn't meet Woody.
We didn't know. And then she was like, I've been texting him and he's in there and blah, blah, blah. So then we're like, oh, he's a man.
Yeah. And we were like, and he's just in there and we're just 2 girls out here. And that's terrifying.
Yeah.
So it was already scary enough. Obviously, we know what we signed up for, but we didn't know about Woody.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, that was when we got back to the car. The lady left because she doesn't live there. She lives 4 miles away. We get in the car and I'm like, what did I even ask you?
You said, okay, so do you want to stay in the car? And I was like, no. And
She was being the bold one for once.
yeah, and she was like, okay, well, do you want to like sleep in the same tent? And I said, yeah, I think that's a good idea. We can sleep in the same tent. And I was like, do you want to go to the pasture? And she was like, yes. And I said, okay, me too. It just felt safer to be in the pasture for some reason.
The woods felt like you would get eaten alive.
Yeah.
Like, seriously. And so I was scared to even get back out the car.
And that's like so unusual. Like, she's not a scared person. She doesn't get scared.
No.
And like, so I just kind of like boosted myself up and I was like, okay, she's scared. I have to be like, I have to beef up and just like take charge.
It didn't last that long. We did take them to the pasture, the tents, and we started to like.
I think we stood out there for 15 seconds and we heard a horse in the distance go. And
it was louder than that.
It was so loud.
But we knew it was a horse, but we just like.
The fact that we couldn't see it or see anything.
Yes, and we kept having to shine lights like everywhere just to like see what was around us.
And we just kept hearing like critters and creatures and we couldn't see them and it was so weird.
Yeah, and I was just like, I just feel like a bear is literally going to be behind me at any second. Like, honestly. And so we were like, okay, yeah, let's just stay in the car. We get in the car, and we're just basically trying to convince ourselves, like, okay, we're in the car, we're safe, it's fine. And, like, we have the windows cracked again because it's hot in the car. And we just can't stop hearing noises that sound like animals, like, getting into stuff and, like...
Oh, yeah, there was food. There was pig food behind us. And there was definitely a critter getting into that.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, like, obviously, like, we're not... It's not the fact that there were animals. And it's not the fact that obviously we were in the freaking middle of the mountains. But it was just everything at once. And it being dark and us not being able to see. Like,
and we had our back to the barn / office.
Which is where Woody was.
Which is where Woody was. And we don't know who Woody is. We know that Woody's armed. We don't know anything about him. Why? She said she would trust him with her life, but like,
how do we know?
That doesn't mean anything. We don't even know you.
Yeah.
So it was just very unsettling and it just felt very heavy.
Yeah. Like we were like, we will not sleep.
Yeah.
And at first it was just like the, like scared of bears or bobcats or whatever. But then we were like, but like, why is there a random man just staying here? And why didn't he come out to meet us? Like the whole thing just felt really like weird. And I never get freaked out as much as I was freaked out. Like she said, like she's never seen me like that. So it was like, maybe we need to listen to our gut. And because I was like shaking, like I felt like I couldn't even move.
Yeah.
And we did put like a motion sensor light. We tried to put it on the roof of my car. Of course it fell. It was just like, this whole thing was like in the movies. And it fell. I was like, okay, it's staying there. I was not about to get out the car to pick it up because it rolled like down into the trees. It couldn't have been right by my car. It rolled. And then it wasn't even working. Yeah. So, of course. And so when we were leaving, I was like, I have to get the light. I can't just leave it there. And I literally had to work up the courage to get out of the car. I have never in my life been like this. It was crazy.
So let's talk about why we left, because we were really trying to like
tough it out.
Overcome. Yeah. And it's hard sometimes when you're like experiencing that fear. It's hard to know, okay, is what I'm experiencing just me like thinking of all the scary movies that I've seen and thinking of all the comments on our TikTok about how people would never camp by themselves and how like whatever, or is this actually like discernment? Is this the Holy Spirit telling us to make a move, to take some sort of action? And I was like, I put on worship music. I was like, I just need to put on worship music. I'm going to read my Bible and I'm going to pray.
And that's crazy enough that we're at a campsite and we can't just like enjoy it, that we have to like feel like we have to go in a whole entire war spiritually just to like feel at peace.
Yeah. And I did start to feel better when I put the worship music on. I was like, okay, that like settled me a little bit, but not for very long.
Yeah.
And I was really trying to be so objective about it and like not think about any, like I wasn't trying to like think about any movies or like any scary stories, but also at the same time like know that that is a reality for some people.
That does actually happen.
It does actually like bad things happen in the woods. That's just how it goes. And my sister, I haven't told you this part. My sister is very into like cryptids and like the creatures that live in the Appalachian Mountains. And I don't necessarily believe in all that. I think that bad things do happen in the Appalachian Mountains that are not always explainable. And I do know that there are like people groups that live in the Appalachian Mountains that are cannibals and like do weird things. So I had that in the back of my mind and I was thinking to myself, here we are in the Appalachian Mountains where bad things happen. But again, I was trying not to let all of those stories influence me. And I was just like, I just need to like calm my spirit and pray and seek wisdom. And I started reading some Psalms out loud to Angelica. And I couldn't even close my eyes to pray because that's how like spooked I was. I was just like, I can't close my eyes. I have to be so aware. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to sleep. There's just no way. So I'm praying, and literally like as soon as I start praying, it's like confirmed for me, like, yeah, we need to get out of here. We need to leave. And really what it boiled down to was like, we didn't know. Like there were so many unknowns, and ultimately we are allowed to leave uncomfortable situations. Yeah. And I think that you and I like forget that sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
That we, just because we're there doesn't mean we have to stay there.
Yeah.
And
it was so hard for us to like actually just leave. Like I feel like the normal like common sense mind would be like, if you feel unsafe, just leave. But we were trying so hard to tough it out because we were like, is this like, is this valid, or are we just like freaked out because it's dark? Right. And I still like think that the darkness had a big play in it all. I think that if we had gotten there in the daytime and it had already had our tent set up and everything, I think it would have not been as bad. Would we have been freaked out still? Maybe.
Yeah, probably.
Like by the animals and stuff, whatever. And especially because it was just us. There was no other campers. There was just Woody in the barn.
Whoever that
which
is.
Which sounds insane. But I don't know. It's fine to never know. I would rather never know.
Exactly. That's what we decided. It was like, okay, well, we don't know.
Maybe it would have worked out.
But maybe it wouldn't.
Not.
You know? And so ultimately we gave ourselves permission to like listen to that discomfort and leave the situation. And like, I think that we made the right decision. I still think we made the right decision. Because
I don't think we would have slept anyways.
Yeah, we wouldn't have gotten any rest. We would have been hyper vigilant the whole time. Our cortisol levels would have been sky high. And as soon as we drove off the property, both of us were just like, okay. Like, I think we just felt better knowing that we like made a decision.
Yeah.
We still ran into some sketchy situations at gas stations.
Well, also, she really had to use the bathroom.
Oh my gosh.
And we were like, when we first got there, we had not used the bathroom in hours. And we were like, it's camping. We could just pee in the woods. We didn't realize we'd be scared for our lives. And so we had to like freaking be out in the woods, freaking
in the most
so
vulnerable.
Shining lights for each other, looking around for bears as we do that. And then like
men, like where the heck is Woody?
Yeah.
You better stay in the barn.
Exactly. So yeah, as we get back in the car, we're already terrified to ever step foot out of there again. It had been like probably an hour at this point of us sitting there scared. And Mariah really had to go to the bathroom. And I was like, I cannot get out of this car. And we were like, we could leave and go find somewhere to use the bathroom and come back. But we were like, what if like Woody is weirded out by a car pulling in and he doesn't realize it's us?
Yeah.
And we just like, I don't know. This might sound stupid to like all of this to explain now, because in the moment it was like absolutely terrifying. And yeah, but all we know is that when we left, we finally felt mostly at peace.
Yeah.
Because then when we left, my gas was pretty low, of course.
Of course.
I don't know. It wasn't that low when we got there. I think it might have had to do with like going up and down all the curvy roads. But still, I needed it pretty soon. And this area is literally like something out of a scary movie. Like it was just...
it was some kind of like... It felt like an old abandoned Western town.
Yes, exactly. It was actually out of a movie. It was weird. And so we go down trying to find a gas station. The first one we go to, it's completely closed. The pumps are closed. Of course. Of course. Like, we are literally living a movie right now.
That's what we said too. We pulled up, we saw the pumps were turned off, and we just said, of course.
So then we drive to the next gas station. It was still open. There was a worker in there. So I'm getting gas.
On the Maps app, it said it was 24 hours.
Well, I start pumping gas. There's like people over there working on their car.
Did you almost say over yonder?
No. People over yonder working on their car, I reckon. But I don't know. That kind of was like, it was nice to see other people, but it was also still kind of scary. Like everything was out of a movie. It just really was. And we don't normally think like that. Like we don't even watch scary movies.
No.
But it was really one. And as soon as we were like, okay, I'm pumping the gas, we can go in and use the bathroom, she shuts the lights off. She starts closing the freaking store. So thankfully we got gas, but then didn't have a bathroom. And right behind us pulls like an old conversion van.
Like from the 70s.
And not like, it just was like rickety. It was,
it was like original. Everything was original from the 70s.
It was terrifying. Like I love conversion vans, but not in that moment. In that moment, it was like, oh, we're like about to get kidnapped, I think.
Because why did they pull up right behind us and stay there?
Yes, they just like not at the pump, but like behind the pumps, just like kind of like kind of stopped there for a second. And they didn't get gas. They didn't do anything. They kind of like stopped and then they pulled out. I was like, what is happening?
But they stopped for a while. They stopped until we were done pumping gas.
Yeah.
It was
creepy.
And yes, of course, after that, everything's going to be like amplified.
You're on high alert. Yeah. But the town was literally like
so
just weird like that. And we were one of the only cars on the road. But yeah. And again, like we don't normally act like this or think like this, but it just was one of them times. It made for this story now. So yeah, we're like, okay, we were going to go drive to Walmart and just like sleep in the car in Walmart. But we were like, honestly, I don't even feel like I could sleep yet because we were so like high
On adrenaline.
Yeah. And so I was like, whatever, we'll just start driving back towards home. We had 5.5 hours at that point. And I was like, we'll stop somewhere along the way, but at least we'll be closer to home. And so the first option was going to be Walmart, like I said, but the Walmart was like a neighborhood Walmart that was like 20 minutes off the highway. And we were like, we are not doing that. And then I saw that there was a Buc-ee's. And this is where the story gets a million times better.
Shout out to Buc-ee's.
Oh my gosh. So we drove 2 hours?
Yeah.
And we ended up at Buc-ee's. So we got
Mind you, the entire time we're driving, I still haven't gone to the bathroom.
Oh yeah. And she did not even say a word.
Not worth it.
Yeah, honestly, we did not want to stop again until we got to Buc-ee's.
Yeah.
And also this whole time, my car was having issues from the start.
Yeah.
And so I was terrified after all this that my car would not, like at the campsite, everything, that my car would just decide not to start and we'd be stuck there. So there was that on the back of my mind as well. And it was just so many things. But yeah, so we get to Buc-ee's, we can use the clean bathrooms.
Mm-hmm.
It was amazing experience to be at Buc-ee's at 2 a.m. because there's no people. And
Yeah.
you know, if you go to Buc-ee's in the daytime, it's like Disneyland.
It's insane.
It's hard to even get through anybody. So it was cool. It's like we had the whole place to ourselves, and so we were able to use the bathroom, and then there was a spot where other people were parked and sleeping in their cars and vans and stuff, like, so it was like, okay, it's must be allowed here, or at least they just don't really care. So we parked up and eventually fell asleep. You only slept for an hour.
Yeah.
And she was just so uncomfortable, like our bodies were so like exhausted.
Yeah.
And neither of us could get like the way that we were sleeping at the first spot, we could not get that same like spot.
Yeah.
Like it was just like uncomfortable for some reason, but not in, I don't know. Once I actually fell asleep, I slept good.
Yeah.
But,
I
like,
think the
it was,
hour
like,
that I
3
slept
hours.
was really good too. Oh, you mean at the first site?
No,
Oh, at Buc-ee's.
at Buc-ee's, yeah.
Yeah, because I slept from 3 to 4.
Oh yeah, so I actually got a good amount of sleep then,
Yeah.
3, 4, but it was off and on. Like
Right.
I would wake up and I would turn around and like whatever, but it was still pretty good sleep. It was actually chilly. I woke up and I was kind of
Mhm.
cold, which was nice because it had been so hot, and it felt so safe. If you ever been to
Oh my
Buc-ee's,
gosh,
it's just so safe, even to sleep in the car. Like I know that probably creeps a lot of people out, but it's honestly so many people do it.
Yeah.
And car camping and like van camping and all that is so normal now. And so yeah, it was fun. And then we got to wake up in the morning, go into Buc-ee's and get coffee, get breakfast.
It was so convenient.
Yeah, I was like, I could do this every night of my life.
And then we took like a nice little walk around the building a couple times, like, and it was such a nice day, such a nice morning.
Just such a different experience than the campsite.
Yeah.
Which I still, like, that place was beautiful, and I knew that waking up in the morning would probably be amazing at the campsite once it's daylight, if we make it to daylight.
Yeah.
But honestly, this worked out way better because it's
Yeah.
a funny story, and we
learned so much through it too.
yeah.
Like honestly, we learned several lessons.
Yeah. And then we got to have an amazing experience waking up at Buc-ee's.
Mhm.
And I love Buc-ee's. Like, Buc-ee's is my Disneyland.
I'm so thankful for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, honestly, I don't know what we would have done.
yeah. We
But
would have slept in some random Walmart parking lot, I'm sure, but it
wouldn't have been as good of an
as safe.
experience.
Yeah. We would have probably felt a little sketched out. But that's a part of it, too. Is not as bad as the campsite. At least there'd be light.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I don't know. Overall, so fun.
So fun.
And literally makes you feel so full of life. Like,
Yes.
even though in the moment it was terrifying, we thought we were going to die, like, the whole experience is like, wow, like, this is what life is about. Like, to, like, just be living, and who cares about the inconveniences? We had so many setbacks and trials through this whole trip. On the way there, everything. Like, so much happened.
But we never, like, got grouchy.
No.
Like, the kind of setbacks that we had
We would just laugh.
We would just laugh because, of course, that would happen.
Yeah.
And, like, also, I mean, what else can you do?
Yeah.
It doesn't help anything to be grouchy about it and, like, to, like,
that'll just
pout
make you miserable.
Yes. And we're not that type of
We were not
people.
miserable once.
No, we
Like,
had such a good
we were terrified, obviously, in that moment, but terrified and miserable are two different things.
Yes, exactly.
We were never miserable. And yeah, so I could do that every day of my life, honestly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was honestly worth everything.
Yeah.
And yeah, we just had overall the best time. Can't wait to do it again.
Yeah.
So, what was your mundane miracle of this crazy week?
There were so many.
There
Where
were
do I
so
begin?
many. Yeah.
I think oh gosh, I don't know. There's just so many. Just, I think being on the lake with the girls was the most, like, relaxing and amazing, fulfilling part of the week for me. I loved being in the water, playing games with them, and just, we had such a good time.
The time of our lives.
Yes, and soaking up the sun. Being in the water during a thunderstorm.
Oh, yeah.
Scariest thing ever for me.
But so fun.
But so fun. I don't recommend it. As a former lifeguard, do not be in the water when it's thunderstorming.
We've always done that, us Simon sisters.
Not this Simon sister.
Now you have. Mariah gets roped in so many things when she's with any of us. Like, it's just like, okay,
and
I'm scared for my life,
but like, it's always such a good experience.
Exactly.
And I think that's why I, like, always have the time of my life, because I'm pushed out of my comfort zone so much.
Yeah.
But, like, always in I was going to say in a safe way. I guess that wasn't very safe, but in a very controlled way.
But it's also in ways you don't expect. Like, you'll be like, oh, we're just going for a walk. And a walk turns into a drive, and a drive turns into a random location. Like, that's how our family has always been.
Yeah. Like, okay, we're going to pick up our paychecks. Okay, now instead of going home, we're going to go to the dance floor.
I forgot about that.
What was your mundane miracle?
That was mine as well, but also the fact that my car got us there and back safely. Literally right before we left, my car just completely craps out on me. It kept stalling. And it stalled so bad that I was stuck on the side of the road, like in this random parking lot, for a while, like probably at least like an hour and a half. Maybe it was, I don't know, it felt like that long. I don't know how long it was. Mariah was, of course, not even around that day. She was all the way like an hour away, basically, with her parents. And I was like, I do not want to bother her. But I was so stressed out, and I was alone. And, like, men kept trying to help me, and I'm just like, I appreciate the help, but y'all aren't doing anything. They try everything I've already tried, because they don't realize that I'm a mechanic.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I'm not a mechanic at all. But I do so much work on my car myself that I've already probably tried. And they're like, oh, maybe we try this. I'm like, I already did that. But okay, sure. And, so I had to, with the help of Gary, he was looking up stuff to try to help me figure out how to get home, because I could not get my car to stay on long enough to get home, and I was like 10-15 minutes away. And so he read that if you unplug the mass airflow sensor, you should be able to get home that way and just try to, like, keep the car going. I was scared to go on the highway because I didn't want to stall out on the highway.
Yeah.
But that would have been the best decision now looking back, because I wouldn't have had to stop. And I didn't realize the problem was happening when I stopped until I took the back roads, which took like 25 minutes. And there was tons of stoplights. Oh my gosh, it was terrible. And it stalled at every single one. And I had to restart it, keep going, drive with my four-ways on. It was
I was on my way to come and get her. I was like ready.
Yeah.
But again, I was so far away. She made it home before I did.
Yeah. And so, yeah, eventually I got home. And then the next like 2 days after that, or 3, I spent just working on my car.
Sun up to
buying
sundown.
Stuff. Yeah. I was disgusting. Like, I had oil and everything all over my arms. Like, it was terrible. It was so hot. It was
so hot and
I was
humid.
like dying.
Ugh.
Yeah. And and so I tried different things. I was looking up so many videos, so many things on Google, everything.
You joined a Facebook group.
Yeah. And I changed the mass airflow sensor, I changed the air filter, I put this other little like vacuum hose, like different things. Made sure obviously transmission fluid's good, oil's good, like all them things. Obviously I had gas. Everyone asked me, are you sure you have gas? Whatever. And the mass airflow sensor actually changed everything, and it started working a lot better. It seemed to be fixed. But the problem did randomly happen again on our trip, but it only happened one time. It only stalled out one time. And the rest of the time I had to like control my braking so that I wouldn't come to like a full stop. Like I would fully stop but not come to a full stop. I don't know how to explain it.
It was
a
just
certain
like
way.
very, very gentle.
Yeah. Like I had to keep it like, I don't know. I just had to keep it whatever. And that was the only time that it really did that. I mean, there was a couple other instances where stuff happened, but ultimately it never stopped restarting. It never stopped like working. It was good. It got us home and back.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to change out a hose today and see if that fixes everything. But yeah, so I'm just thankful that we at least didn't get stranded anywhere.
Yep. Amen.
But thanks for listening, guys.
See you next week.
Peace.